first, I would say the first time that I felt like I could breathe over the last probably whatever it's been, 48 hours, was right there in that practice. So that's where I feel home. I thought it was a crisp practice. It was to the point. It was competitive. It was, I would say, a winning environment. That's one way to look at it. And I feel like going into today, I wanted to see how guys responded after what's happened, what's taken place over these last couple of days. Because I think we all know, it is what it is, right? I mean, here we are, new interim head coach. A lot of those guys have a ton of respect for Coach Philbin, and there's still possibly changes that could happen, and so it's a lot for those guys. And so ultimately, all I wanted to see is guys come out and compete, and violently compete. And I felt that today. I felt that, and I think they felt it too. I know. So it's a good day. That's one.
Coach, did you put your stamp on this time you still went on that field with the guys today?
I would say that I don't think it's 100% a stamp yet, because I kind of meshed a little bit what was already in place with some things I wanted to do, but all in all, just kind of the attitude of it, the energy of it, I would say is a little bit more up my alley.
If I can follow, you said violent. You wanted to get it out there today.
Yes, absolutely. That's what they have those pads on for. Got to learn to use those things again.
You talk about more changes. Is that schematically? Is that more coaching changes?
We're looking at everything. I'm sure, as you guys know, we've done some things on the offensive side of the ball, which is certainly something to this point I'm more comfortable with, because that's where I've been working and I understand offense very well. And defensively, I'm still looking. I'm in the evaluation process right now. I am looking at everything I can look at. I feel like I'm turning over every stone I can turn over at this point with where we're at, And I'd love to say that, hey, we're going to have this thing done immediately. That's just not reality. Now, I understand that I have to. We're running out of time, okay? But I can't rush with it either. I got to make sure I'm making the best decision I can for the Miami Dolphins.
Would any changes happen before the next game as far as personnel?
Personnel. You know what? I can't even get into that, to be honest with you. I haven't even had time to sit down and start talking about personnel. Right? Everything, not everything, but I would say a majority of the things that I've been involved in to this point is the staff, and making sure that I have the staff that I feel like can serve this team the best. And that's been it. And then that practice. Those have been the two things. And then talking to players. I'm just trying to pull in guys. I'm trying to build some relationships with guys that they know me, but they don't know me like the tight end group does or that offense does. So that's what I've been doing.
While you're keeping Bill Lazor's offensive coordinator, we're bringing in Al Saunders. Talk about that while you're bringing in Saunders and keeping Lazor in the role.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm excited. I really am. I'm excited about that because Al is a guy. Bill and I had talked, and this pass game is Al Saunders. It's got Al Saunders' stamp all over it, and that's what Bill got it from. Essentially, is kind of that style from that tree, and so I felt like Al brings. He obviously brings experience. I mean, he brings a lot of experience. He brings somebody that. You guys mind if I do this? The guy brings a ton of energy, which you wouldn't think that. I mean, it's not like he's the youngest man alive or anything, but he has a ton of experience. He has a ton of energy. He understands what this offense, particularly the pass game, is supposed to look like. And as of right now, we're talking about moving him into the receiver room. What we've done so far, Phil McGeegan, who's been in that room and has kind of served under Coach O'Keefe, Ken O'Keefe, he'll kind of take charge of that room. However, we're planning on putting Al Saunders in that room because he knows what it needs to look like on the back end. Not that Phil doesn't, but it'll be great for those two. All right, we get the energy from Phil and Al for that matter, but also the expertise, the experience, and that's something that Phil's only going to grow with, and they have a rapport in that room with Phil. And then Coach O'Keefe, we have moved to, he's with Zach Taylor with quarterbacks, and to me, the reason I did this was because I felt like this was going to be best for our football team for the offensive side of the ball. And because Coach O is one of those guys that I felt like we've got to use what he's best at. And to me, it's having him work more in that role with possibly being with Zach Taylor, all right, because he's been an offensive coordinator. He's had to deal with the quarterbacks before, but also just his overall view of the game. Like that, to me, that's Coach O's greatest asset is the fact that, we get into game plan meetings or day of the game and he's up in the booth or just some little things sometimes you might not even think about. That's what he does well. He does very well. So I'm excited about those changes. And then the other thing about having Al in, it's only going to help Bill Lazor be a better offensive coordinator. There's little things that he'll be able to help him on.
But you mentioned they have the pads, they need to learn how to use them. Did you sense that there was a frustration of lack of hitting in practice?
Well, no. Here's the thing: you can't, as you guys all know. I mean, we can only pad up once a week, and I think that's right. I'm still learning some of this, but I'm pretty sure that was the rule. If I'm wrong, let me know. If we can go 3, no. But 1 day a week. But so with that being said, you got to make the most of that day. When you have pads on, you have to make the very most of that day, and that's the day where. Anytime, whether you're in or you're out, your fundamentals have to be spot on. And it can't just be another day. But when you have those pads on for sure, you only get one opportunity now a week to make the most of that and to play with those on your shoulders. And it's just, it's one of those, it sounds like, well, I mean, okay, you throw pads, you don't throw pads on. But it really is one of those days where you got to emphasize the fact that you want those guys coming after each other a little bit. If you don't keep pushing the guys, it's not just the Miami Dolphins, it's any team. You put the pads on them and you come out in heat like this. I mean, you got to drive them now. It's not natural for those guys to want to go out and just beat the crap out of each other. But sometimes that's what you got to do a little bit of. And that's what it's about. But to do that and get the most out of them, you got to make it as competitive as you possibly can. Because there's always got to be some element to me of competition in the practice where it's mano-a-mano, everybody's looking at you, because that's when you get the most of those guys, and that's when they begin to grow.
Getting back to schematically for a second between now and the Tennessee game, players are now off for 4 days, but how much typically implemented X's and O's wise to affect change on the field between now and then?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I really can't even get into that with you because there again, I'm at the point now. I'm still trying to figure out the staff. I'm still trying to make sure that I'm making the right decision there, and that's going to. At some point, I got to go through X's and O's. So obviously, and we're going to have to walk through that stuff and make sure that anything that needs to be cleaned up that's happened over the last 4 weeks gets addressed. Any changes we need to make as far as that stuff goes, but that's on the back burner right now.
Dan, two-part question. What was going through your mind early this morning when you're getting ready to run your first practice as interim head coach? And secondly, what were you thinking when you saw Jarvis and Seth Thompson kind of shoving each other a little bit, sort of what you predicted?
Did I eat? That was the first thing you asked me about. I forgot if I ate yesterday. I don't even know if I ate, but and then as far as I actually did not personally see it, but I wanted it to be a competitive environment. I want it done the right way. I don't want a bunch of fights out there, but I want it competitive. I want those guys. I want emotions high. I want those guys to puff their feathers up a little bit. That's to me, that's what it's all about. And sometimes some of that stuff happens. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm not telling these guys to go out and start throwing punches, but hey, if guys get a little bit heated and they get after it a little bit, you may have some of those. That's not the team I want to be in. I don't want to be undisciplined, but to push them to the brink, sometimes you're going to have things like that.
Where do you stand as defensive coordinator, and what have you talked to Kevin about?
I am in the middle of all of that right now. I am still well into that whole process of trying to sort through all that. And there again, I'm trying to turn over every stone I can to this point with the limited amount of time that I have. And that's it. That's all I can tell you on that right now.
You haven't decided yet if Boyle will be back for sure or not?
No, I haven't.
If you were to make further changes in the staff, when would you like to have that done by?
I mean, certainly you'd always love it sooner than later with where we're at right now. But I'm not gonna do something like that just to say that I got it done. I want to make sure I'm making the right decision. And you know, like I said, if anything, there's nothing. I'm glad we have a bye week. That's all I'm trying to say. This is good timing.
What's going to take to get the defense to play more aggressive with more intensity? It seems like that's the one side of the ball that we really need to amp it up a little bit.
Well, there again, you know, some of those things will come down the road when you start talking about offense, defense. But I think a little bit of that started today. To me, that's if you start tweaking those things a little bit in the competitive environment, and you force those guys to where now they can get exposed a little bit, or they'll rise to the top. That stuff bleeds out into your offense and defense, you know, bleeds out in your offense and defensive linemen, bleeds out to all those guys. But to me, that's kind of where that starts. And we're not even talking about X's and O's yet, right? I mean, that whole deal down there was a fundamental practice. It was just one-on-one. We had one little small section of 7-on-7, which was actually football stuff. Everything else, it was all about being primates again. Every one of those guys. Just back to the days where, hey, you line up and you go.
Last question.
Into that philosophy, do you see those guys up front really ready to get in, get intense, get aggressive on the field?
Well, I mean, that's day one. I mean, you know, can't go too far here. That's all I know is that's the first practice, and I was pleased with the first practice.
Dan, do you know yet how you're going to?
I do not. I haven't even, there again, I haven't got into any of that stuff.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.